Hey everyone, Dash again. Hey, it's been way too long since I've posted any kind of video. I apologize. I got a lot of catching up to do. School's really kicking my ass right now, so it's kind of been my priority. But I got some projects that I've done in my meantime, and I wanted to provide an update on one of them today. And then also right behind me here, I built a little storage lean-to for my tractor attachments because I don't have enough space. So something temporary until maybe one day I'll get a garage built. But anyway, hey, today I want to show you I made my own stump bucket. I've actually made one of these before just as a little project to see how well it came together, and I'll show you that here in a second. But that one did great. It was only made out of 1/8 inch steel. This one's made out of 3/16 inch steel, so it's a little bit thicker. The main reason I wanted to build another one is because, well, two reasons. One, I have a plasma cutter now, and two, the old one was just too thin of metal. So they have stump buckets just like this on artillion.com, and there's some other stump buckets that you can buy, but it's really not too bad to make. I picked up the steel for this. This is, like I said, 3/16 inch plate, about a 3 foot by 3 foot sheet of flat plate, and that was more than enough. This is what I have left over. So this is 3 foot by 3 foot, and then I cut out all the parts that I needed for the stump bucket, and that's how much I have left over. So you don't really need that much. You could probably go by a 2 by 3, and that would work great. So anyway, I bought all of this steel from Pulky Steel here in Bismarck. That guy and that company is just awesome. I work with Josh. He's one of the technicians out in the shop there. He cut it for me. Just a stand-up guy, man. If you live in the Bismarck area and you need some steel, Pulky Steel is where to go. They are fantastic. This whole 3 by 3 sheet was $57. So I wanted to build a stump bucket that would work with the frame that I have for my pallet forks. This is a Titan Attachments frame. It's a little heavy, but it was only like 500 bucks off of Amazon, so that's what I went with at the time. But it has a receiver hitch in the middle, and I wanted to make good use of that receiver hitch. And I had an old receiver hitch with a 2-inch ball on it, and I couldn't get the ball off, and so I used it as a sacrificial piece. So I ended up cutting the ball part off, and then I ended up welding it to the back of the stump bucket, put some reinforcement on it, and it works great. My other one that I had, I did the same thing with, and it worked great. You probably can't see it very well, but way back there we had about 9 trees that we want to remove, and so I actually cut them down and then dug the stumps out with that other bucket, the 1/8 inch steel bucket, and it worked great. This is actually that bucket I'm talking about right here. It's a little bit shorter, but almost the same volume, and this dug out all of those stumps. Lots of roots. It did a great job. This doesn't have the teeth on the edges to help rip the roots like the other one that I just built, but this did just fine. So this is my first one. This is my prototype, if you will, and it worked pretty good, but just the metal was just too weak, and I didn't really reinforce it properly. So anyway, so the point of this video is to tell you that if you have the right tools, like a welder, and if you have a plasma cutter, or if you have oxyacetylene torch, you can do projects like this yourself and probably save a ton of money. And you also have the satisfaction of making your own implements, which is, I don't know, probably worth the time. And I don't know if you build it as quality as a machine would, but it's going to serve your needs at a much more reasonable and cost-effective price. So I want to show you the dimensions of this in case you want to make your own. It's 2 feet long, 24 inches, and this bottom I don't know, scooping shovel part is it's 8 inches wide, the plate is, but then it looks a little bit wider because these edges are kind of on the outside. So But this piece right here is 8 inches wide by 24 inches long. Therefore the sides are also 24 inches long. And then you just cut these at a right angle. So if I go back to this corner, this is just cut at a right angle. And then the back, this back plate right here, the angle is 30 degrees and 30 degrees this way. And then the total height is about 10 inches. I don't know how well you can see that. But the total height is about 10 inches. And then the top is about 20 inches wide. So those are the dimensions if you want to make it. And then it's a good practice to stick a brace in it. That helps it from not bending the metal. I learned that the hard way the first time that I made the other bucket. So I'd recommend doing that. And I ended up cutting these teeth both on the front and on the side to help rip the roots. I cut those with a plasma cutter. You could also use just like a die grinder, or not a die grinder, a angle grinder, and that would work just fine too. So how much did it cost to make all that? Well, $57 in material for steel at least. I'm sure that you could also calculate, you know, electricity to run the welder and plasma cutter, plus the wire that you need in the wire feed welder. But overall, I mean, maybe 80 bucks total, and you can do it yourself and you have the satisfaction, and it works just as good, if not better, than buying from a company and paying shipping and all that other kind of stuff. So if you have the time and the energy and the will to do it, it's cost effective and it works very well. So I actually use that bucket out there. Excuse the mess, this is a terrible way to make a video, but anyway, I use that bucket to actually dig the holes when I put the 4x4 posts in the ground for my shack. I actually use that to dig the holes instead of a post hole digger, and that was super helpful. So these buckets, I call it a stump bucket, but some people will call them a trenching bucket. Others will call them various things, root bucket, whatever. But I use mine almost like a backhoe. For $60, I built an attachment that fits into a receiver hitch, and that does most things that a backhoe can do. Obviously, it may not reach as far, and you know, there's limitations based on maneuverability and that kind of thing. But you know, a backhoe for a 1025R is like $7,000. Or you can spend 60 bucks, build your own bucket, and have, I'd say, probably 75% of the functionality that a bucket has. Maybe that's a little generous, but for 60 bucks, that's good bang for your buck. So really cost-effective option. You can also buy a trenching bucket, that's fine too. But if you buy it from Artilian, then you have to use the Artilian pallet fork frame and you know, that kind of stuff. So there's Peach. So what do you need to make one of these? Well, I have a welder. This is a Millermatic 135 115 volt wire feed welder, MIG welder. This thing is awesome. I got this from my grandfather. He was an iron worker. Very proud member of the International Association of Bridge Structural, Ornamental, and Reinforcing Iron Workers. He taught me a lot. He taught me how to weld. And then he bought this probably in 2000, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. It's been awesome. This will weld to a maximum of 3/16" steel. That's what we use today. But you have to have the settings right, and I think for 3/16 you should really use 100% CO2 as your gas. And this is a 75% argon mix, and it works pretty good. What I did for my welds is I welded on one side and then I flipped it over and I welded on the other side, so it's pretty sturdy. but I kind of did 2 beads versus doing just one, and maybe that's the best practice anyway. But worked very effectively. Not the best welder in the world, but I know enough to get the job done, I guess. And then I recently bought a plasma cutter. So this plasma cutter is from Harbor Freight. It's the titanium 45 amp plasma cutter. This thing is freaking awesome. $900, but well worth it. It's of good quality, and it worked really great for this project. You can actually run it on a 115 volt outlet. This is a 20 amp GFI outlet, you know, for outdoors. But this comes with an adapter, so you can run it off of a 240 volt, you know, or it comes with the adapter and you can plug it into a regular 115 volt. Now obviously it's not going to do as much, but it worked just fine for 3/16 inch steel. But my problem is I was running too much and I kept tripping the breaker, so I had to keep resetting that a lot. But yeah, I got by. This week I'm actually going to have an electrician come in and install a 240 volt outlet in my garage. It's going to be well worth it. So you can YouTube videos on this particular plasma cutter if you want. I'm not going to go into detail about it. It works awesome. I'd recommend it. If you wanted to get one, you can buy it at Harbor Freight. I'm not going to go into details though. You can watch other YouTube videos on that. Same with this Millermatic 135. This is a little bit older, but you know, I think now they make a 141, which is kind of the equivalent. They're getting a little more simpler to use from my understanding. Kind of has like an auto setting. You just set it to whatever thickness the steel is, and then it calculates itself and does the job. This one is a little bit more manual. And I also got a little chop saw that worked pretty good for when I wanted to be a little bit more exact versus using the plasma cutter. So these are the tools that you would need to do this job. If you have a plasma cutter, you're also going to need some sort of air supply. So I have an air tank here, 150 psi max. It's a Craftsman Professional series. It works pretty well. So you can't just buy the plasma cutter itself. You have to have some sort of a air compressor to use with it. So anyway, hope you all found this helpful. It's just something out of the ordinary. It's not really tractor type stuff, more fabrication stuff, but it's used for the tractor. And if you have these simple tools, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say simple, these are rather expensive, and I inherited a lot of them. But if you do have them, or if you want them, you can probably save yourself some money in the future if you have put in some elbow grease. But it's maybe worth the investment. It's a lot of fun, I can tell you that. It's super fun and satisfying and rewarding to build your own stuff. Save yourself some money, but then you also have to recoup that money based on buying the equipment to make it. So I realize not everyone has that capacity to do that. So, but yeah, just a different type of video. Hope you like it. Hope you learned something, and hope you check out my other videos. Hope you subscribe, and hopefully we'll be making more videos here in the future. I got school right now, so I'm kind of busy with that. My tractor business is just kind of slowing down. I put that on the back burner so I can power through school, so hopefully that'll work out good for me. I think next year, next summer, next spring, I'm gonna be in much better shape to do a lot more tractor work. So hey y'all, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section if you have any questions about any of these projects. I don't go into them in super great detail because I don't want to bore the living crap out of you. So if you have any questions, I'm usually fairly quick at responding to comments. I try to be. I can help you out if you have any questions about anything specific. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you like our videos. Check out Little Green Tractor, thelittlegreentractor.com, and look for information about what we do there. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks. Have a good day.